So basically, again, I'm just trying to tell you that how to test any application using the JUnit, right? And just a quick revision here, right? So we have created a simple math operation class into a Java, right? And we have a simple add operations. In this add operations, we have two only particularly variables, which is just returning a plus b. Simple add. Here you can have a multiply operations, and here you will have a validate where you check that if the name is equal to James, or if it is not equal to null, then it will return false, and otherwise it is true. Correct? It's a simple. If you have some complex operations, that is also you can write. Matlab, any complex operations or any particular type methods you can write it. If these three methods, if you wanted to test it, what are the things we will follow here? Right. So to proceed JUnit, we need to have some JUnit libraries. So as we have created, this is a Maven project, correct? In this Maven project, what we do, especially we create a pom dot in the pom.xml, we have added two particularly what we can say libraries. This is nothing but JUnit Jupyter and JUnit Test. So these two libraries, maybe you can get it from anywhere, right? And for JUnit Jupyter, because it's a we are using a version is 5.10. So this JUnit version, you can get it right earlier. Maybe you see some of that JUnit for these jars also. But if you will use these jars, it will be much more better and it is an advance. Correct. So then you can come here, especially into your test class, into where you have SRC test Java in your Maven project. Correct. So SRC test Java, you can right click and then create your test class. Correct. So simple test class, right? Math operation to test. Correct. And then you can start writing some test cases. So in that scenario, then you can simple one of that test case. I will write it here, and then you can use a at the rate test and then public void, right? Test add method. So this test add is nothing but what it does here. It will be basically helping it to you for testing purpose, right? So is this is one of the test case into this particular class. So I just wanted to run as of now. Let's say for int I is equal to 2, right? And then int j is equal to 4, correct? So this is the way you can just write it. Now what will happen here? So we use that some kind of a assertion here. So I will import this test. At the rate test is JUnit Jupyter. Correct. So once you will added these jars, majorly what you need to do, any point of time, any jars you add it into this particularly what we can say class here, right? You can directly click right and Maven and update project so that these jars will be getting downloaded here. Okay. So once you will download these jars, if you will say update project, these jars will be getting downloaded, whatever jars you again, so that you will not face any problem for, you can say, compilation error. Now what will happen here? Once this is do, you can use some assertion here, right? What is the expected value and what is the actual value? Assert was right. And then you can majorly change the method to assert equals. No, this will not be like this. Correct. This is a basically we need to import it. So you can import and then you can pass. So if you will have, let's say, is for something you can call as, is this 2 equal to 4? The answer is no. Then it will, this test case will be getting failed, right? So this is simple what you can try. Exactly, assert equals, assert null, assert. So like this, there is a multiple asserts are there. So this is basically a, particularly this condition got failed. So actual and expected, right? Now, if you wanted to test this particular class, which is we have written, right, is math operations. So what you can say, you can create an object into our test class, right? Here, obj is equal to new. And then what you will say here, this is basically you can call. So if obj dot result is equal to int, right, obj dot add, right? So what will happen here? We have just created a particularly object and we are calling a method the way call any method here. Here you can pass I, here you can pass as a j. Now this is you can pass as a result. What is the expected value? 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. If I will compare with 4, so actual result will be a 6, but you are comparing with 4. Run as the JUnit. Correct? So this will again, it will be getting failed. But if you will compare and put it as a 6, then it will be basically getting passed here, right? So like this is a one of the test case we have written already, right? In the same way, you can write because this condition got passed here. So we have written a multiple test cases, right? In that scenario where we can see, right? Multiply. So if you have a multiply I plus j, if you will multiply here, so another test case for multiply. So if we multiply with this 2 multiplied by 6, if this operation it is returning as a 6 equal to 6, then this test case will be getting parts. So we also have a validate name where validate name is especially if we will pass particular name. So in math operations, we have written one more method. If any name we pass it as a James, then it is written false and make sure that our customer name is also not equal to null. Otherwise, all other names is true. Correct. So if you'll pass the condition, if you will pass the name as a James as a customer name, it will return false, right? In that scenario, so if you'll come here, right? And if you'll add one more test case, especially for what we can call as again V, and we will say this name, right? And if we will call as something, you can say Boolean status is equal to something you can say obj dot validate name, and you will say James, correct? So this is status. So in here, we will use a different assertion here. Assert false. So is this status is false or true? So actually this status will be a false because we are passing name as a James. In that scenario, you can just run and see is these test cases are getting passed or failed. So you can use assert true as well or assert false. So you see these two test cases got passed. So if these two test cases got passed, assert false also you can try it. Correct? If you will use a small j, then this test case has to be failed. Okay, what is this here? Run as JUnit. Correct? Because small j and capital J is not working properly. Correct? This way you can also test it. Right? Another thing is that when we are talking about particularly you can also run and create a test report also. So you can see the coverage, correct? So what will happen here? You can do one thing. You can basically in pom.xml, you can add one dependency. You can say build plugin that is a JaCoCo, right? Inside your build and plugins here. So you can get it this JaCoCo plugin, Maven plugin. You will get this details into plugin, right? You can get it from the internet, right? So this is the plugin which will be come under the plugins, and these plugins will be under the build. So inside the build, you will have a plugins. Under that, you can have this entire plugin. This plugin will generate the report, and it will be in which phase? Into a verify phase, MVN verify. Okay. So this way you can see and you can run it. So you can open into a command prompt. And in the command prompt, what you can say, right? Particularly, you can come to a command prompt and you will be able to see but how you can run that commands, and you can say, so let's say if I will run MVN clean test, right? So MVN clean test will run test. Okay, so it will clean that entire test target directory and it will generate the test cases. Okay, so MVN test is also one of the goal. You can also say is one of the phase in your Maven. Okay, so that is you can try and you can use it. Now, after that, what will happen here? After the MVN clean test is you can run as a MVN verify, right? And MVN verify will basically for a verification purpose. And for this JaCoCo record generation, we have given into a phase is equal to a verify. Okay. And then you can run one more command with nothing but MVN JaCoCo report here. So it will generate that. You can also install one of this Eclipse plugin also, which you can see that coverage itself, right? So if you'll come and see what we can call as uh, particularly a reports, these reports will be getting generated inside the target folder here inside here. So this is a index.html, right? This reports you can see directly. Okay. And when we are talking about particularly this, if you will open into a index.html, right, you will be able to see this HTML report. Okay, so you can open this HTML report and you will be able to see that how much code coverage we have it in each and every class, right? And you can also see the code as well. Okay, so this way you can see exactly how you can test and you can generate the report. Okay, so you can also one more time see it, what we can call as the code, and also you can see the plugin details as well.